is Bill Vinners from Artima and Escalate Software. And in this screencast, I'm going to talk about collections in Scala 2.8. There's not too much to say about collections. They were already pretty good prior to Scala 2.8, and in 2.8 they got better. There was a major overhaul in terms of how they are implemented. This doesn't affect users so much. It's primarily makes it easier to reuse code inside the implementation of the library. It will affect your life if you ever decide you want to make your own implementation of some of these collection types. That has become easier. Other than that, the main way that the collections have changed in terms of regular users of the Scala collections library is that they became more consistent. And what that does is it makes them easier to use, easier to learn, because once you pretty much learn to do a certain thing for one type in a certain way, you can do that for all of them in that way. So I'll give you a few examples. One is just where these types lived. Most types lived in the Scala.collection package or its subpackages, mutable for mutable collections and immutable for immutable collections. However, there was one glaring exception, which was list. List lived in the Scala package. And the reason it was there was that it was so important. This is one of the most fundamental basic types. You use it all the time in Scala. And one thing is they didn't want you to have to import anything. You don't have to import scala.collection.immutable.list. And things in the Scala package are imported automatically into every source file. So that was useful, but it was inconsistent. So now if I go to scala.collection.immutable, and I'm just going to hit Tab to get the code completion, and it'll show you everything in that, every member of that package. And if you look right here, I'll highlight it. List actually got moved here in Scala 2.8. And to not break code and to keep list from needing to be imported, they left something in the Scala package called list, which needed to be a type member of an object, and that's why they created package objects. In Scala 2.8, another new feature was called package objects, and they wanted to move some of these collection types, and they didn't want to break code, so they needed to insert something called list that was a type that referred to this list here in scala.collection.immutable. And it also makes packages more general, so there was sort of a general design purpose for the package objects, but that's where they came about, was this collections overhaul. And so now every immutable collection type is in the scala.collection.immutable package, and every mutable collection type is in the scala.mutable package, so you can see there are quite a few of them. And then scala.collection has types that are either mutable or immutable. At this level of abstraction, it doesn't say, right? So a scala.collection.map could hold on to a reference of that type could hold on to a map instance that is mutable or a map instance that is immutable. Okay, so that's the package hierarchy. What about the type hierarchy? That also changed in 2.8 and became a lot more sensible. At the top of the hierarchy is a type called traversable. So I'm going to say val traversable equals traversable, and 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I'm going to create a new traversable and store it in a reference, a variable of type traversable. And what this means is that it's a collection that can be of objects that can be traversed with for each and many other methods. So I can say traversable for each print line, for example. Okay. Below this type in the hierarchy is iterable. So one of the things I can't do with traversable is ask it for an iterator. It doesn't have one, right? So if I create an iterable equals iterable 1, 2, 3, then I can actually ask it for an iterator, and it will give me one. Okay, so below these two base types, basically base classes, they're traits, are traits for the three main kinds of collections: seek, set, and map. So a seek, of course, is an ordered sequence. It's a collection of objects that have an order. So I can say seq 1, 2, 3, and I get a sequence. Okay, another one is set. So I can say set 1, 2, 3. If I say set 1, 2, 2, 3, well, 1, 3, 3, well, 1, 3, 3. Too many threes. Of course, it just gives me 1, 3 because every object in a set is unique. And then map. I can, of course, map keys to values 1 to 1 and 2 twos to 2, 2, 2, 2. Something like that. Okay, that's the hierarchy. Basically, you got traversable on top. You've got iterable just below that, which adds the iterator method. And then you have sequences in the seek type, sets, and maps. And basically, there is a one of these for each in each of these packages. So Scala.collection, if you take a look, Scala.collection dot, I got to put the dot on there. You can find traversable is right here, and iterable is right here, and seek is here, set is here, and map is somewhere around here. So basically in Scala.collection you have these types, in Scala.collection.mutable you have these types. Basically in all three of these categories you're going to find all of them. And there's traversable, there is iterable, sequence, set, and map. Okay, the same thing's true as in immutable. Alright, that's the basic type hierarchy. It's very easy to understand. And one of the things that you may have noticed that was consistent is how I construct new instances of any type. Whatever type I want, I just say the name of the type, let's say iterable, and then I just pass some values in there like 1 OT X or something. Okay, so this is true of any type in the hierarchy. So if I say Scala.collection.immutable let's see what we got here. How about sorted set? And then I'll say 3, 2, 1. Boom, I've got a sorted set of ints. So that's one of the things that's consistent. Another one is how to create an empty collection. In the past, you could usually say, say list like this. But for some types, you could say list.empty. Others, you couldn't. Sometimes empty was a capital E. Now it's always, no matter what type it is, you can create an empty one by saying .empty. And what you'll note here is the types that are inferred is nothing. So if you really want a type, you can put it like this. Let me backspace over that curly brace. I can put a specific type parameter in there, but a lot of times it will be inferred if you're passing an empty traversable to a method that takes a traversable of string. You just say traversable.empty, and it will know that the type parameter is string. And of course, creating collections is elegant, but what's really nice about Scala collections is all the methods that are on those collections that allow you to do things that make you very productive. And there's something like 50 methods or more on traversable that everybody gets, and it's all consistent across the library. So for example, I can say set 1, 2, 3 map. Let's multiply each one by 2. Boom. So really the star of the collections library is all these methods that are very useful and productive. And then it's all consistent across all the collections. So if let's say I back up to this sorted set that I made, I can also map it in the same way, _star2, and boom, I get the same kind of result. Okay. So one other thing that became nicer in Scala 2.8 was working with Java collections from Scala. So one of the nice things about Scala is that you can call into any Java API. And another nice thing about Scala is Scala's collections are really nice. So there's a lot of nice things. The problem was, before 2.8, it was kind of a pain to go between these two worlds. The Java collection library and the Scala collection library. So let me give you an example. I'm going to create a val JList equals new java.util.array list of ints. I'll create a new array list of ints. This is a Java array list. Then I'm going to add 1, JList add 2, JList add 3. Okay, so I now have JList of 1, 2, 3, and my hands hurt for some reason. But what I want to do is map the same kind of thing I did. So I say JList map underscore times 2. All right, that's what I want to do. And oops, I can't, because if you look on ArrayList in Java Util, it doesn't have a map method. So this sounds like a job for an implicit conversion, and what came in Java 2.8 is a nice batch of implicit conversions. What I need to do to get them is say scala.collection.java conversions. That's the name of the object, and then I'm going to import every member. Now, when I go back and say JList map times 2, boom, it works. Okay. So basically, when I have Java collection in my hand, I can call Scala methods on it pretty easily, and that's very nice. So when I call into a Java API that returns a Java collection object, I can just start using it. Now you'll note that it actually changed it to array buffer, which is a Scala collection class. So now we're back in the Scala world already. So what about going the other direction? What if I have a Scala collection and I need to pass it to a Java method? Well, let's make it such a method. I want my Java, and this thing's going to take a, let's call it JList, because it's a Java list. Let's make it a Java .util.list of ints. And then what I'm going to have this guy do is just print the size, JList.size. Let's say that worked. Okay, so now if I say I want my Java, I can pass the JList that I have misspelled my method here. Disrespecting Java by not capitalizing it. There we go. Okay, I want my Java JList. Basically, it takes a Java util list. I'm passing in a Java util array list, which is a subtype of Java util list, so it works. But what I can also do, since I imported Java conversions, is pass in a Scala list. So let me do that. I want my Java list. This is a Scala list. And I'll put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items. Okay, and he says the size is 5.